How are you developers? I hope you are fine. In today's session, we'll be immersing ourselves in the captivating realm of CSS icons. While we'll not be talking about celebrities or cultural symbols, although those might be fascinating to talk about, but in this class we'll be focusing on how icons in CSS greatly contribute to improving our user experience, enhancing visual appeal, and effectively communicating information in a concise manner. So if that seems interesting to you, let's dive in. If you have been following the course, you are aware of a report that you always pull changes from when you start any class. So you can just go to that repo that you forked and update your branch, then go to your VS Code and pull the changes using the git pull command. And if you are new, I'll provide the link to the repo so that you can clone it and also have the notes with us. So without much ado, let's start learning about CSS icons. So once you pull the changes, you'll see this folder here written 14 CSS icons and units. That is the folder that we'll be learning to today, and it's located in this CSS folder here. You can see the two folders, HTML and CSS. Then if you expand the CSS folder, you'll see this 14 folder here, and inside there you can see there's this readme that contains the maps that we use in this course. So I'll just create another file inside the folder I'll call it index.html, and also I'll put my HTML boilerplate there and rename the title to CSS icons and units. Then I'll link to my style sheet. Then I'll also create a new file, style.css. Then I'll open my readme using my Markdown previewer, close this explorer and close this readme, so I can have my HTML file here, my style sheet here, and my notes in this way here. So now I'm ready to start, and I hope you're ready too. So let's start diving in about CSS icons and units. So icons refer to graphical symbols or pictograms that you can add them in CSS. So you can see how they are. So like I said earlier, you can add them using different libraries. There's this one called Font Awesome icons. There's the Bootstrap icons, the Google icons. There are a lot, like the Remix icons. There are a lot of libraries that you can use to add icons. But today we look at some of them, not all of them, but some of them. And the first one that we look at is this one called Font Awesome icons. So for you to add Font Awesome icons, you have to go to fontawesome.com and search for the icon that you want, and copy the code and paste it in your HTML code. It's just that simple. So let us see how we can add Font Awesome icons to our website. So once you're in your browser, you can just search for Font Awesome icons, Font Awesome, just Font Awesome. Then click on the first link like that. Then you'll be redirected. You'll be taken to the Font Awesome. You'll be taken to the Font Awesome website. Then you can say this one start for free, like that. Then you can just put your email here. I'll put mine like that. Then you agree to their terms and services. Then say send a kit embedded code like that. Then you can see they have sent it to my email. So I have to check my email. I'll just open a new tab here and confirm my email like that. And if the email opens, you can see that here you can see there's this email, the new one for Font Awesome. They want me to confirm my email address, so I'll just click confirm email address. Then to redirect me to the Font Awesome icon page again, where I'll just set up my password. I'll just use a strong password like that. Then I say set password and continue. Then the last name of my first name and last name, just say my first name is Janja and last name is Programmer. Have you ever used Font Awesome? I'll say I haven't used it. My favorite icon says FA Rocket, but you can see this FA Rocket, it's written there. You can see then the placeholder, it's FA Rocket. So I'll just write that one, FA Rocket. Then I'll say okay, let's go. Okay, once I'm set up, I'll come to this page where they ask me, welcome, have a kit, set up icons using one line of code. I'll choose this option to set up an icon using one line of code. I'll click that one. Then they'll give me this script code here. So this is the code that I wanted. So for you to get this code, you have first to register for an account for you to get this line of code. So you can see that these are the instructions. You have to copy this kit in your head, HTML head. Then you start using the icons. You can change the color, size, rotate, animate, all of them with ease. So let me just copy this script code and paste it in my VS Code. So let us go back to VS Code and paste this one in our head. So once you copy your link, your kit, that is called a CDN, you can just paste it there in your head. But it is recommended you paste it above the style sheet link because of things like priority. So if something is above, it will have a higher priority and it will prevent it to be overridden. Think that is clear. So that is how you paste the script tag. So now let's go and see how we can use the Font Awesome icons. So I'm back to the Font Awesome website where I got the kit. So for me to use the icons, I can click on this icon tab here, this one here on top. Can click on that one. Then it will take me to a page of icons where I can use the icons here. So let me use any icons. I'll just use, you'll see there are a lot of icons. You can just search any icon you want here. For example, I want the icon for, let's say, home. I'll just search home like that. Then it will give me the icons for home. Wait for them to load. Yeah, they're here. So if I want to use this icon, I can just click on it. Then I'll be given a link, a line of code to copy. I'll just click on it and you see it has written copied. Then once I've copied that code, I can go to my HTML code and put that code where I want it to be displayed. So let us go back to our HTML and put our code that you have copied. So back to HTML, I can just paste my code anywhere. I'll just paste it here. First I'll write a h1 there saying CSS icons. Then below that h1 I'll place my icon there. But keep in mind, for this icon to work, you have to include this script tag in your head. Because you are using an external library, you have to link that library to your HTML code. And how do you link them? Using this script tag here. So that is how you link the external library to our code. So let's save this code and go to the browser and see if this icon will be displayed. So if you go to the browser, you can see that our icon is here. It's displayed. So that means that the Font Awesome icons worked. And you can use a lot of icons. I just use this example of the home icon. You can use there are a lot of icons in Font Awesome. You can just search any icon that you want. For example, you can search for Facebook, Instagram, any icon that you want, and you'll just apply the icons the same way. So now let us look on how we can style this icon, because you can see now it's black. The default style is black and they're a little bit small. So what if you want to increase maybe the size or anything else? So let us see how we can style the Font Awesome icons, or the icons in general. So to style this icon, you can use the normal way that you have been using to style elements. You can either use you can put here the style attribute inline and style it inline, or you can use the internal style element here in the head. But me, I'll just use the external style sheet to style this class. You can see the class already has, you can see the element already has a class. So instead of writing my own classes, I can just use, let me use this class, this FA house, because this FA solid, you can see it will, if you look at the other icons, most of them have this FA solid. So maybe I want to style different and to style these icons differently. So this FA solid means Font Awesome solid icon. So FA solid, if you use something like Facebook, you'll see it is fab, means Font Awesome brand, yeah, something like that. Sometimes you can see this in written fast, but you don't have to know these things. You can just copy the link and paste them here. I don't have to know the meaning. But for me to style this, I can use this second class, because this second class is the class that is unique to this icon. Because if you check out the other icons, you can see other icons can have this class of FA solid, but this FA house it's only unique to this specific icon. So I can just use that class to style it. So I can come in the browser and use that class. Maybe I can increase the font size. You style it using just normal CSS styles. Just for font size, I can increase the font size. Maybe and change the color and to give it a color of maybe blue. What else can I do to this? I can put something like margin. I can make it to rotate. You can just put all the styles that you want. You can just say, maybe you can put the transformation. Maybe you can put anything that you want, but I'll just put the font size and the color. So let's go to the browser and see if this element has taken these styles. So if you got the browser, you can see indeed our icon took the styles that we gave it. It is now a little bit bigger and it has the blue color. So that is how you style icons, just the normal way that you used to style other elements. So I think that is it with the font awesome icons. Just look at the next thing. So you have seen how you can add icons using the font awesome library. So let me just write here h2. This one is for font awesome. Let's say font awesome library. So you have said that you can add icons using a lot of libraries. The first one we looked at was the font awesome. So now let us look at the other library, that is the Bootstrap Icons. So here below it, I'll put another h2 there, and so it's now called Bootstrap. So this one's are for font awesome icons. So this one will be Bootstrap Icons. So the way that you add Bootstrap Icons is just the similar way that we added font awesome. Just go to their site, search for an icon, then copy the CDN and paste it in your head, just the same way. So let us go to their website and see how we can do that. So to get the Bootstrap icons, let me just close these tabs. To get the Bootstrap icons, I'll just open a new tab and search for Bootstrap Icons. Bootstrap Icons, like that. Then I'll click on this first link here. So this is the Bootstrap website where you can get everything about Bootstrap, but and to get the icons. So you can see the if you don't come to this page, you can click on these icons to come to this page, Bootstrap Icons. You should see there Bootstrap Icons. Then you can search any icon you want. So this time let me search for about, or let's say clock. Anything that you want. Let's say clock. So this is the icon for clock. So I can use this one, but if I use it without providing the CDN, it will not work. So for Bootstrap, to get the CDN, you can just go, where is it? Let me go back one step. If you scroll down, you can see that this thing called CDN. So if you're using package manager, you can use these commands to install it, or you can download. If you want to download it in your page, you can download their zip file. But the best way is to use this CDN, because CDN is simple and it won't make your website to be heavy. So I'll just first copy this CDN here. I'll copy it. So let us go to our HTML code and paste this CDN. Then we come back to Bootstrap and get the icons. So in my HTML code, I'll paste the CDN, and we said that it should be before the HTML link. So I'll paste it above this style sheet link. So I'll paste it a little bit above there. Then I'll save. So now my website is aware of Bootstrap because I used the CDN to link the Bootstrap library to my HTML code. So now I can just use the Bootstrap icons and they'll work just fine. So let me go back to Bootstrap website and get one of the icons and paste it below here, and you can see how it will work. Back to Bootstrap website, so I'll just scroll up a little to where I had searched my icon. So I wanted this clock. You can just select any. So if I wanted this one or this one, anyone, I can just select. Then I'll copy this line here. You can see it's just copy and go. So I'll just copy this one. Then I'll paste it in my HTML where I want it to appear. So let's go back to HTML and paste this clock icon. So in my HTML, below the H2, I just paste my icon there, and you have seen it's there. So let us look at it, and to style it, we'll just use this class bi clock, like there we style the FA house. You can just style it the same way. But before you style it, let us go to the browser and see how it is before styling. You got the browser, you can see the icon is here, but let me zoom the screen, maybe you cannot see it well. So you can see it's here. This is our icon, the clock icon that we paste, but it is small and it is not styled. You can just style it. I'll just go to back to my VS Code and style this icon to be a little bit bigger, to be almost the same size as this one and almost the same color. So let us go to our VS Code and style this icon. Back to our VS Code, just the way we did with the font awesome icon, I can just copy this class here and go to my style sheet and use the class selector to style it. I'll just copy the same styles here and paste them here. So because they're sharing the same styles, instead of having a lot of lines of code, I can just put a comma here and put this class, put it there like that. Then I can just remove this. I think we looked at how this works. This means that all of these two classes will have the same. We'll have the font size of 40 and we'll have a color of blue. So let us go to the browser and see if that is the case. So if you go to the browser, you can see indeed our Bootstrap icon was increased in size and it has the blue color. Like I said earlier, you can just style it anyhow you want. You can just say maybe on hover, rotate. You can put all the things that I've been learning, but today I was just showing you how you can add icons to your website. And you can, as I said earlier, you can just add any icons. You can just search for Facebook icons, any icon that you want. You can just search for them in those respective libraries and add them. So let us look at the next thing. So the next library that we'll look at is this one called Google. This one is for Google icons. If you remember when we're learning about fonts, we saw how you can use the Google fonts and how you can use the external library for fonts, and now we're looking how you can use the Google library for the icons. So I'll write an H2 here and say Google icons. Then now let us go to their website and get the CDN and the icon that you want. So let us go to their website. So back to my browser, I'll just open a new tab. Then if I want to use the Google icons, I can just search for Google icons like that. Yeah, then I'll select the first link, and you'll notice this is the same link that we used for the fonts. So the fonts is just here. You can see here is where you are adding the fonts, and for the icons you just come to these icons here. So you can use this to navigate from the fonts and the icons. So these are the Google icons, and you can see there are a lot of icons here. So you can search for anyone. Let me use this one for delete. Or which one should you search for? The one that you can suggest. Let me just put a cloud. So if I wanted something like a cloud, I search for something like cloud, like that. Then I'll choose the cloud that I want, maybe this one. Oh, I forgot to change this thing, so let's go back a little bit. Let me just close this one. Icons, filters. So you have to select here. Here you can see these ones are symbols, but I don't want symbols and icons. So here in the style you have to select something like this material icons, because I think by default they are symbols. So I don't want symbols and the icons. You can see the symbols, they're not giving me that I or span. So for icons you'll get either an I tag or a span tag. So I selected the icon and them to be filled. You can just select the types of icons that you want. All of them are just okay, but this one has to be material icons, not material symbols. It has to be material icons. Then I'll just search the icon that I want. I searched for cloud, so I'll just search for cloud. Then I can take anyone. So you can see now it has changed. It was previously it was something a long code, but now it's a span. So I can just copy this and put it in my HTML, and it will work. But before I put this span, like the rest, you have to add a CDN. So for me to add the CDN, you can see here they're telling me follow the instructions to embed the icons in your site. So I'll click on this instructions link here. Then it will take me to another site. Then this site is still the site for Google, but this one's for, you can see it's for developers.google.com. So here they're telling you how you can add the CDN, and you can see here this is the CDN. You can just read through this document, but I've already read and I know this is the CDN. So I'll just copy this CDN like that. Then once I've copied it, I have to paste it inside my head of the HTML. So let's go back to our VS Code and paste this code at the head of our HTML. So back to our VS Code, as usual, you paste it on top of the style sheet link. So I'll paste mine there and save. So this is the CDN for using the Google icons. And now if I put any any span or I tag here that is for Google icon, the icon will display. So let us go back to the website where there was the icons, and I search for an icon and I copy the code and paste it here, and you see if the icon will display. So let us go back to the Google website. So back to my browser, I'll go back to this website that had icons. So I searched for this cloud icon and I selected it. Then now I was given this code for span. I can just copy the code, and now since I have followed the instructions and I have the CDN in my head, so if I copy this code and paste it there, it will work. So let us go to our VS Code and try to paste this code and see if it will work. Back to our VS Code, I'll just paste the code below this Google icons header. I just paste the code there and just save it. So that is the code. So I think the code is there. It's just simple, but you have seen how it's different from the rest. You can see how the icons for the Fontosa Moz and for the Bootstrap, you can see this for Google, they're using this span tag. They're not using the I tag. And that is okay because I've just copied it directly, it will work. So let me save this code and let's go to the browser and see if this cloud icon will be there. So if you go to the browser, you can see that our cloud icon is there. And that is how you can add icons using the Google library, the Google icons library. So I think now you have seen 3 methods of adding icons. First, let us style this icon. Let us style it to have the same style as the rest. So let's go back to VS Code and style this icon. So if you look at this icon, you can see it has a class already. So I can use this class to style it. So I'll just copy that class. And as you have said that we'll style it similar to the rest, so I'll just put a comma here and paste that icon, that class, but it has to start with a dot, because it is a class selector. So class selectors, you have to start with the dot. So now I have styled this Google icon to have the same styles as the Fontosa icon and the Bootstrap icon, and that is how you can style them, all of them to have the same style. So just go to the browser and see if this Google icon has those styles. So if you go to the browser, you can see that our Google icon is now blue and its font size has increased. And that is how you can style icons. So now you have learned 3 ways of adding icons into your website. So there's the Fontosam way, by using the Fontosam icons library. You can also use the Bootstrap icon libraries or the Google icons library. So any method you choose is okay, but you can get there some icons that are present in this site and not present in the other site. So that's why I taught you 3 ways. So if you're searching for a specific icon, you can search for that icon in Fontosam. If it's not there, you can search it at Bootstrap or at Google. And you have seen how you can add all of them in your website. So now the challenge is with you. I want you to apply this knowledge that you have learned, and that is it. So let us learn about the CSS units. That is it with the icons. So now let us learn about the CSS units. For CSS units, I didn't want to talk much about them. I'll just tell you a little thing about these units. There's 2 types of units, the absolute and the relative units. As you can see in the notes, you have the notes, you can just go through them. There's this absolute units, and this absolute unit is one that I've been using for so long, and I've been using this specific one called pixels. And you can see here, one pixel is equals to 1/96th of 1 inch. So a pixel, you can compare it to 1/96th of 1 inch, and that is how we have been defining our lengths, such as the width and the height. You can see even here in the styles, we specify the font size of the width in pixels, and that is an absolute length. So today my emphasis was in this relative length, and specifically this EM and the rem. So EM is a unit size, that is, but before you talk about EM and rem, first you have to know the relative units. So relative length, you provide a length that is relative to another length, and here use unit scale like the EM, the rem, and the rest. So the one that is mostly used is this EM and the rem. This EX, you can see it's rarely used. The most used is this one, EM and the rem. So EM is the relative font size to the size of the element. So like paragraphs, you have seen by default paragraphs, they are 16 pixels by default. So if I have a paragraph here, let me just create a paragraph below let me put H2 here. It's in CSS units. And just get a paragraph. I said it's a paragraph. So by default, we said that by default paragraphs are 16 pixels. So you can use the EM to say the relative size. So if I want to style that paragraph, I can style it like this. I can say, let me use the element selector. So I can say font size. If I say 1 EM, it means 16 pixels. And if you want to change any style, you can just calculate the style relative to the. If I wanted it to be 32 pixels, I'll just put 2 EM. Because I've said 1 EM is 16 pixels. I've said 1 EM is equals to 16 pixels. So what about 2 EM? You can just do the math and get 2 EM is 32 pixels. Also, you can use something like decimal points. You can say something like 1.5 EM. And that will be 16 plus 8. That is 24 pixels. So that is how you can use the EM. So EM is relative to the font size of the element. So for you to use EM, you have to know the font size of that element. And I told you for paragraph by default, the font size is 16 pixels. So if you want to change any value apart from that, you can use the EM. It's not a must that you use EM, but I'm telling you this for you to know that you can get someone's code is using the EM and you'll not be sure what are they writing. So I'm telling you these things for you to know them, even if you might not use them, but it's better for you to know them. And maybe you can know what someone is meaning by writing EM. Then the other thing is this rem. Rem is relative to the root element. So you can specify the root element, and you can say another size relative to that root element. And that is how you can use rem. You said all of these are just ratios. So let's say I provide a root. I can just, the root is the HTML. That is the root of the web page. So I can say for all my HTML and the font size to be something like, let's say 20 pixels. Then if I want this to be 20 pixels, I can say 1 rem. It will be relative to this root element. Let us go to the browser and confirm this. If you go to the browser, you can see that the size of the paragraph is a little bit bigger than the normal paragraph. And that is how you can use the rem. And that is it that I wanted to tell you in this video. And for the viewport width and viewport height, I think that one we discussed about it already. The viewport is this visible part, and the viewport height is from here, the top white part to the bottom white part. That is the viewport height. The viewport width is from this left part to this right part. So if you say 100 viewport height, you mean all this, all of this. And if you say 100 viewport width, you mean all of this. And you can just put the ratios. You can just say 50 to mean a half, 25 to mean a quarter, going so. So those are just like ratio values. And that is it for today's class, guys. Today we are supposed to focus mostly on icons. This unit was just an additional. That's why we didn't go in depth about units, but the main course was just icons. So I hope you enjoyed the icons class. So peace out. See you in the next video.